The purpose of this video is to show the repercussions of a walkback find. But before we get into that, I want to show you what the dog's doing here, crossing this pond and these rocks. Generally speaking, when a dog takes actions like this on a trail, takes the path of absolute most resistance, it has to be odor related. No dog would really do this unless it had something to do with the trail. And indeed, once we were finished, we found out that's exactly what the subject had done. At the end of the video, I'm going to highlight one particular section of the walkback find and loop it several times to go over key points of dog body language. Really liking the concrete work here. It's nice and damp, and that's holding the odor down on the ground really well, but especially on the concrete. Really like this trailing behavior on the damp concrete. The dog is really following odor quite well. Makes some great conscious decisions based on odor, and you see this manifested with the body language. Look at that head pop that just happened on the concrete. Dog's got good trailing behavior, but the handler still anchors and pulls the dog back a little bit. I think she was a little unsure where the trail went, but the dog's showing good negatives here, no odor, and then commits back to the path that it originally took. The dog hits the intersection with the big parking lot. It starts to go left, no odor or little odor, and heads right. Watch when it picks it up again. Look at that strong body language right there. That's where the trail is, or at least that's where the odor is. The dog picks a direction of travel going across the parking lot, not necessarily working strong odor, but probably detecting it on the other side. A portion of this video is actually the subject matter of the video. You're going to see a subject of the trail walking back towards the handler and the dog. Pay attention to the dog's body language. You're going to see him wagging his tail, showing interest, wanting to go and check the person, but as soon as he does, he turns around and goes right back to the trail, probably following the original scent path. The reason why this happens is the dogs oftentimes aren't used to this type of activity, and it creates a problem in their mind. There's a conflict. There's a trail going one way, but a matching odor coming towards them. It's a type of trail that oftentimes we don't do, and because of this, we create a pattern in the dogs and their reactions to the subjects.
Clap and call. Betty, get on your knees and clap and call. Clap and call. No, you need to do it quickly. It's past the point. He should have done it.
This action next, going up to the group of people and engaging the wrong person, is an indication that he's forgot what he's looking for.
You're too late.
You can tell by the body language that the dog is in a little submissive posture. The tail's dropped, the head's down, looking up. He's a little unsure of what he's encountering. He's not sure if this is the subject of the trail or perhaps this might be something altogether different. He's waiting for a cue from the handler. Now watch it in real time. Look at the happy reaction of the dog. The dog was very excited once it recognized the odor, but as soon as there was no reaction from the handler, the dog completely disengaged. The dog is supposed to do what's called a refind. This is where he indicates on the subject, goes back to the handler, and then goes to the subject again. He didn't indicate because he didn't get his cue from the handler, which is right here. When the handler posts, puts their feet together, and points towards the subject. Still, even with the cue, the dog doesn't know who he's looking for at this point because he's completely disengaged from the subject or the trail. He's not exactly sure what he's looking for anymore. Timing for a correct ending is completely over. The dog's disengaged from the subject, does not know what he's looking for, and any type of subsequent reward or reaffirmation through positive reinforcement is going to have no bearing on the trail or no bearing on this particular test. The dog's not going to learn from it. The timing has to be as soon as the dog engages with the subject, there has to be some sort of affirmation that he's done the right thing through reward or praise. I think this also shows a problem with using a refind in a trailing situation. In a trailing situation, the dog's attached to the handler by a lead, and I think the focus needs to be specifically on the subject and the subject alone. The proper timing for positive reinforcement of the find is going to occur here shortly. As soon as the dog engages with the subject, has a very, very strong, happy reaction, and you'll notice that the dog's wagging his tail and jumping up on the subject. This is the time that you actually have to reward the dog with something either from the subject or from the handler or from both. Starting right now, you've passed your point of good reinforcement for the find. The dog's now completely disengaged, and he's looking for something else. It's important to understand that in any canine training environment that dogs are not linear thinkers. Once you're outside the moment of that find, once you're past that point, Anything that you do with the dog from an indication or reward standpoint has no bearing to the subject. It has a bearing on you and what you've done. In other words, that you're teaching the dog that it's responding to your cueing, and then the dog's always looking at your actions. The time for reward is now. And now it's too late. The next video in this series will show how to set up this trail to create good timing for a good reward for the Walkback Find and create focus on the subject.